Hi, I'm Davy. I'm awesome. Welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So this week we had TNA Emergence 2025, live from Baltimore, Maryland. Let's get into it. The opening match for the X Division Championship. Cedric Alexander challenging Leon Slater. It was a good opener. The only thing I will say is it wasn't much of a rivalry, just like, hey, I'm an old-timer, I need to test you, youngin'. Basically told us that they were just doing this to legitimize Leon Slater. But I'll give Leon Slater this, it wasn't just doing the high flying. Most of the match really working that knee of Cedric Alexander. And it went until Leon Slater did a Styles clash, which was fitting considering AJ Styles came out and congratulated him at Slammiversary. Then right after did one of his Swanton 450s, got the pin, the win, and retained his X Division Championship. Like I said, it was a great opener. It was just lacking in the story department. But still good enough to where I would give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then, Mustafa Ali versus Matt Cardona. It was okay, but it was a little too short to really get that into it. And it ended when Ali got the 450, but Matt Cardona immediately rolled him up and pinned him in kind of a gotcha win moment. So Matt Cardona won this, but then of course he was immediately attacked by Mustafa Ali and the Good Hands. But then the System came out to help Matt Cardona, which started the next match right away. But before I get to that, this match, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! But then, like I said, the System was out there, so out comes First Class. The tag team of the System's Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers versus First Class. This one was meh. Like the last match, it was kind of short and nothing impressive at all. And a little tit for tat, though, Order 4 came back out to attack the System, which led to First Class getting the win. Like I said, this was so meh. Barely, I'd give it a 2 out of 5. And then, in a career on the line match, I guess, Sami Callihan challenging Mike Santana. But Sami Callihan saying this may be his last match. If he can't prove to himself, he can still get the job done. But right before the match, Sami Callihan challenged Mike Santana to turn this into a Baltimore street fight. Which, great, that's Sami Callihan's bread and butter, hardcore wrestling. Problem is, though, whereas it was good, it wasn't great. Definitely wasn't the best I've ever seen out of Sami Callihan, especially in a hardcore match. Like, there was some brutality, but nothing that really made me go like, oh, cringe. And eventually Mike Santana got the spin the block, got the pin, the win, and of course give respect to Sami Callihan, who left his boots in the ring. Basically his way of saying he's done. We'll see. I'd give this one a 3 out of 5. Yeah! But then a little side note, after the match, as people were congratulating Sami Callihan, Eric Young kind of got into his face, and Joe Hendry kind of got into Eric Young's face, so I guess that's building up for that. Then a 4-way for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Saya Brookside and Leanne Lee versus The Inspiration versus NXT's Fatal Influence versus the champions, the Elegance brand. They're now doing what they call the Elegance rule, but the Freebird rule, where any three can defend the titles. This time it was Heather and M by Elegance. Little side note, before the match started though, they have a little thing where right after Leanne Lee came out, they had her sign her new contract to TNA. This match did not get interesting at all though, until everybody that came down with the tag teams got into the ring and started fighting. JC Jane, Mara Jade, Masha Slamovich, they started fighting and it ended up in the ring and them all fighting, getting kicked out. And honestly, that's really the only interesting thing that happened in this. Because after that, it just became chaotic, but not the good chaotic where it's just keeping our attention, but more like losing our attention because it's like, what's going on? And it just went till M by Elegance hit Jessie McKay with the belt, got the pin and the win, and the Elegance brand is still the Knockouts Tag Team Champions. This is another match I would just give it 2 out of 5. Then for the International Championship, Jake Something challenging Steve Macklin. This match was awesome. There was no count out, no disqualification, so it did go all over the place, got brutal, like when Steve Macklin got powerbombed onto the ring steps. Not to mention Frankie Kazarian was there doing commentary and being pretty funny, keep giving Jake Something new last names, like Jake Belvedere. And it ended when Steve Macklin got the KIA, got the pin and the win, retaining his International Championship. And then after, as Frankie Kazarian's leaving, of course he's talking crap, and Steve Macklin's ready to challenge him right there and there, even to give him a title shot, but of course, Frankie walked away from it, but still setting up for something. This was the match of the night, and I would give it a 5 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the TNA Tag Team Championships, the Rascals challenging the Hardys. It was okay, nothing wrong with it, just nothing special with it either. It was basically just a standard tag team match that went back and forth until the Hardys got the win over the Rascals. And there was no real rivalry either. Just another, hey, we're a younger tag team that grew up loving you guys, and them with, hey, we're older guys that love to give the rub to younger guys. They, have the respecting afterwards. That's not as interesting as TNA really thinks it is. It gets boring, especially when they do this over and over again. But like I said, the match itself, there was nothing particularly wrong with it. I guess I'd give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then, like they seem to have to do in every one of these, a useless first-class lounge segment where they come out, talk crap about the town, and then, in this case, the mascot for the Baltimore Ravens came out, and then the System came out, they fought a little bit. You don't have to do this at every one of these. It's not entertaining. Then the main event for the TNA World Championship. Moose challenging Trick Williams. Like the last match, it was okay. Nothing wrong with it, but nothing special about it. It was just a standard match. Then Moose looked like he was about to get the win, but the referee was knocked out. So he got him up, but then took 3 trick knees. And Trick Williams got the pin and the win. Still the TNA champion. Again, there was just nothing special about this, which makes it kind of a letdown. But it was still a good match, so I guess I would still give it its 3 out of 5. Yeah! So, TNA Emergence 2025 overall, I would describe it the same way I described the last 2 matches. It was okay, nothing particularly wrong with it, but nothing particularly special either. Out of 8 matches, 1-4, 1-5, but there were also 2 2s, meaning lackluster. The thing is about this is this felt to me like a lot of WWE events feel like in between their big 4, which is it felt like filler. Thing is though, WWE can get away with that. TNA really can't. You're gonna make a bigger event than just your weekly show, then it needs to feel bigger than your weekly show. There was good matches, but most of them weren't great. And ultimately, nothing really happened. There was no stories settled. It was just build up. So this was basically kind of like just watching an episode of Impact. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that if it's an episode of Impact. And this is what I kind of don't like about TNA sometimes. I like TNA, but sometimes it's just annoying the way they shoot themselves in the foot. Because they build things up as, oh, this is a special thing, but then it doesn't feel special at all. Especially right after they had a really good event like TNA Slammiversary. That was really good. And then you give us something that's just meh. It's how I would describe the whole night, is meh. And nothing was even surprising. With how they'd been building up Leon Slater and the rivalry between him and Cedric, we pretty much knew this was just to help get him over as the champion. The Knockouts Championships, there was a chance maybe they would change hands, but we pretty much figured they wouldn't. Especially not in a 4-way. The International, it was a rivalry they'd been building a little bit, but still didn't figure Stu Macklin was going to lose it. Maybe building up him and Frankie Kazarian, maybe that'll add some drama. The tag titles, enough of the story of, oh, we love you, we've been watching you since we were kids. That story doesn't need to be done every single time. Change it up a little bit. How about, I hate you because you have what I want? I even feel bad for the whole Sami Callihan match, because if this was supposed to be his last match, this is not the way for him to go out. So I kind of hope it's not a real retirement thing. And even the World Championship match, no doubt that Moose is capable of taking the title from Trick Williams, but I think at this point, with the way they've been building it up, we pretty much know he's going into Bound for Glory as the champion, because that's going to make the better story. But they could have at least done something in the match to make us really think oh, maybe he'll win the title. But no. At no point did we think that Moose was going to win. So ultimately, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. I would barely, and I do mean barely, give TNA Emergence a 3 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like. hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post the videos. And leave a comment I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of TNA Emergence 2025. Love you guys.